Hey guys, welcome back to Handmade with Tara. I am Tara, a stay-at-home mom to 3 beautiful boys and an independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up. And today I am going to do my advanced tutorial for the My Valentine Suite. So each month I'm going to pick a stamp set to kind of feature, and this one comes from the new mini catalog that is from January to April 2024. And it's right in the first couple of pages here. So, of course, we're going to skip it. So, Be Mine. And this is an entire suite. So, in the suite, it tells you everything right here that comes in the suite. It's the paper, the designer series paper, the stamp set, and this one comes with a punch. It comes with ribbon. It comes with pillow boxes, and this one comes also with adhesive backed hearts and flowers. So I really love this suite. I've had a lot of fun playing with it this month. These are a couple of the different designs that they came up with, the company Stampin' Up. And over here, I just want to point out the color code here. So this is the colors that they use in this suite. Sweet Sorbet, Petal Pink, Daffodil Delight, Lemon Lime Twist, and Pool Party and Basic Black Memento ink. So all I do when I start a new project is I grab all those different colors. So I have them in front of me. So here are my ink pads ready to go. Plus I also have a Memento Black. So I know that every single one of these colors I can use, and they will coordinate perfectly with the designer paper, which will coordinate perfectly with the blends, and so on and so forth. So it's really awesome the way that Stampin' Up! Has their colors coordinated, so you don't have to guess what's going to coordinate, which is awesome. So I am going to use all of these things tonight because this is an advanced tutorial. I also am going to use a lot of my tools. So obviously you're going to need a paper cutter. If you want to stamp along with me, you're going to need, the paper trimmer here. You're going to need a pair of snips. You're going to need a bunch of blocks. You're going to need some dimensionals. You're going to need the paper. So we're going to use the coordinating paper. So you can see I've already gotten into this. And so we're going to be using this. We're also going to be using the fun pillow boxes that came, and I have already started to cut for this one. We're also going to use the Take Your Pick tool, and we will also use a bone folder for each of the cards. I'm also going to use green glue and a Stampin' Seal Plus. I'm going to use a blending brush, and I do have a couple of the blends that coordinate, so I'm not sure I'm going to use all of them, but I like to have them out just in case I want to use them. So those are ready to go. And let's see, what else? Where are my gems? So I will show you, this is the ribbon that came with it. So, and I'm seeing a lot of shadow. Hold on, let me see if I can't help with that situation. I do have another light. Let's try to get that a little bit better so we don't have a shadow. Just like me to forget my lights. Alright, I was so excited to make my tutorial that I forgot to turn my lights on. Okay, so let me show you the projects because they're really fun this time. Okay, so I love this cute little pillow box. It says, "You make my heart buzz." And inside, I made it so that you can still open it while leaving the front intact. But inside, I put a couple of the circle Lindt chocolates. Yum. Perfect for a friend, a relative, a school teacher, a welcome gift for somebody at a party. I love these little pillow boxes. Super easy to use. I'm going to show you how to make this. And then I have 3 different designs. I have a Valentine's Day card. I have a fun, sweet as honey bee card. And then I also have another fun bee card. It's a bee set. And I'm just going to show you how I made these. It's really quite simple, step-by-step instructions so that anyone can follow. And I will break them each down for you with measurements so you don't have to guess. I do like to use the inches measurements, not the centimeters, but let's go ahead and I'm just going to show you a couple of other things that I use just so that if you are stamping along with me, you are going to be able to complete the project. So you will need an embossing folder. This is an old one called Hive that I really loved and obviously goes perfect with this set. This is a perennial postage dies. This is a brand new from the new catalog. I used this one on the first card. So I used both of these on the first card. So I do use the TaylorMade tag dies. So you're going to see I'm going to use one of these for the pillow box sentiment. All right. And I also used this Softly Sophisticated 3D embossing folder on one of the cards, and which is a new embossing folder, and then Everyday Details dies. So I also use these. So this is going to be so much fun. You'll see how truly easy this is once I break everything down for you. So, and I'm going to start with this card, this design. So this is the first card that I'm going to work on. And here are the measurements, so there's no guessing. All right. Also, before we even get started, if you haven't already liked and subscribed to my channel, please do so. I'd love to have you follow along as I, stamp my way through each catalog and new sets and all kinds of fun stuff that's coming out. So I really appreciate, you watching and checking out my channel. It's pretty fun. And also if you want to shop anything that you see, I'm going to put links in the description, but my website is right here, taragolem.stampinup.net. And anything that you buy, if you follow this link directly, will support me and my business. So it is super appreciated. And I also, if you have any questions about anything, please send me a message. I would love that. Or if you need a catalog, I would love to help you with that. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into it. All right, so for this one, you're going to need a card base. I use Basic White. So Basic White, and this is 8.5 by 5.5 inches, scored at 4 1/4 inches. Okay. You're going to need a piece of Daffodil Delight, and this is 5 1/4 by 4 inches. And this piece is going to go on the front. It's going to be the first layer here, and that's going to get embossed with the Hive folder. You're going to need a designer series paper that is 4 1/8 by 2 7/8. Okay, so that's this one. And then a Basic White cut 3 by 4 1/4. So, and this one's going to end up going underneath this one, just like that. So that's going to be the next layer. And then you just need a scrap piece of white that you're going to use for the sentiment. So this piece of scrap white, I think that I did a little bit more than 2 1/4 by like 2 1/2. 2 1/4, I'm sorry, 2 3/4 by 2 1/2. So, and this is honestly bigger than what you're going to need. And then I also cut out one of the B's here. So we're going to use this B and we're going to fussy cut around it to add that to our front of our card. And then a little piece of ribbon. And the ribbon, let's see, is about 17 inches long. So 16 inches is probably good too, but this is just about 17 inches that I already cut. And we're going to go ahead and start by stamping our sentiment. So on this scrap piece of paper, we're going to use the Basic Memento Black, Tuxedo Black, and I'm going to stamp "You Make My Heart Buzz." So I'm just going to tap, tap, tap. Okay. If you are coming across this and you are a beginner stamper, I do also do a beginner tutorial that I do on the last Friday of every month, and just walk you through beginner easy cards. Try not to use my embossing machine, try not to use my dies, but I do try to do simple stamping to show you what you can do without that if you didn't have that. So first things first, I already did my stamping, and I'm actually going to stamp the inside as well. So the inside here, I'm going to stamp right in here. And since this is thick, I used a thick basic white. I'm just going to stamp right in the card. Usually I would maybe add an extra layer if I didn't use the thick, but since I had it, I went ahead and used it. And where are my stamps? Okay, they're there. So I'm just going to grab out the Be Mine, and I'm going to stamp this right in the middle. Let's see. Actually, I'm going to leave that in there because I'm going to use that again. I'm just going to grab one of these blocks. And I'm just going to use Memento. And I'm going to stamp that right on the inside. Be mine. And then clean this off with my chamois, which is another tool that I use on every project. And I can put this away for a second. Alrighty. And then now we can start the embossing part. So I'm going to emboss this with the Beehive. So this is the Hive 3D embossing folder. So I'm going to put that in here, and I'm going to run that through my embossing machine. And then I'm also going to grab this perennial postage, and I grab the second to the smallest. I believe that is the one I used. So I'm just going to run this through the embossing machine. Okay, so I have an embossing machine. I don't like to move it around because it's big and chunky, but this is what it does. So it's just gonna cut these out for you perfectly so you can use them. You can cut with small dies, or you can emboss with the embossing folders. Stampin' Up! Has an amazing collection of these, and they're constantly changing. So if you don't see something you love, you can always look, and every month they're changing. So, or not every month, but every year they change them up and add new ones, take away old ones. Okay, so this is done. So this is going to be this next layer here. Then this is going to go on top, and I'm going to use my snips, and I'm going to fussy cut around this bee. So I used a different bee on the first one, and you'll see when I put them side by side, but I wanted to use this one just to show you that it can be done with either or. And if you're here returning, thank you again so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Help me grow my channel. It's so cool and super fun. Just giving a couple of ideas of fun projects to do, keeping it light, keeping it fun. My favorite thing about Stampin' Up! Is hosting workshops, and my second favorite thing is doing tutorials. So it's a growth thing. Like, I'm growing as I'm doing these things and trying to teach myself as I am doing these things. So some people can relate to that. It's all fun. Super, super fun. So that's that. All right, so now we are ready to build this card. So this one, I mean, there's just a little bit of space left, but I'll probably save that just because I'm a crazy person. I like to save stuff. But I'm going to go ahead and use my green glue. I'm going to use the glue to glue this down just because it'll be easier to move and slide around if I need to move it and slide around. So I like the idea that I can kind of wiggle it and wobble it until it's where I want it to be. It's a little bit harder to work with than a flat piece of paper, but not too bad. All right, first layer is down. All right, now I'm going to glue these two pieces together here. Hopefully, the shadow is still kind of bad. I'm not sure why. Hopefully that's not too distracting if you're watching. All right. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add my ribbon. So what I like to do is that faux ribbon, and I like to use my Stampin' Seal Plus. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it on this side. So I'm just kind of put it where I want it, like that. And then I just add a little bit of the Stampin' Seal on the top and the bottom where I want to add it. This way we don't waste any ribbon. So, like so. And then I'm going to cut that last bit off. So my ribbon is attached just like that. And then you can pop this up on dimensionals if you like. I didn't think that it needed to, since it's already going to have a couple of pieces popped up on dimensionals. So I added this to the front, and you can kind of add it this way or that way if you want. You can center it up if you want. I just wanted to make sure you could see lots of that beautiful hive embossing. If somebody received this card, they're going to be like, wow, this is going to wow somebody, right? I really love an embossing folder really elevates a card to me. It just is like when you can feel it, when you can feel the card, it's amazing. It's next level, right? Look how pretty. Okay, so I just tied that bow in one try. That never happens, guys. All right, I'm just saying. We're having fun with this. All right, so I'm just going to add a glue dot to the back of this. And here, let's see. Let's see if I can get a glue dot here. So I'm just going to grab a glue dot just like that. And then I can put that back. And then I'm going to add this. I'm actually going to put that aside because I don't want to mess up. And I'm going to use a couple of dimensionals here on the back of this. So you see those dimensionals? And I'm going to add this where I want it first. So, and I kind of have it right above this bee. So you can still see that bee, but then I'm going to cover him up anyway with some ribbon. So don't worry too much about it if you cover him up. All right, and then I'm going to use that glue dot, and I'm just going to go ahead and put this right at the bottom so you can still read the sentiment. And then I'm going to trim this up so it looks pretty. And then you can save that if you want to. That was that extra inch that I told you didn't need. So 16 inches is just about right for the ribbon length. And then that's that. And then I'm just going to add a dimensional on the back of this, and then this card will be done. You can always add more on the inside if you want to, but you don't have to. I could add some more bees like this on the inside if I wanted to. So, and then I'm just kind of putting this one right there in that corner, like that. So that is card number 1. All right, look at all the detail. That embossing folder is my favorite. It's so much fun. I have a lot of favorites, guys. This one is one of the ones I keep coming back to because it's super fun. All right, card number 1 done. I'm going to set that aside, and we're going to go ahead and move right on to this card. Look how cute. Oh, and I did the inside too. So I did a Happy Valentine's Day, and then I did You're as Sweet as Honey. Again, if somebody got this card, how much fun. Wouldn't they just love it? I don't know. Maybe they wouldn't. Maybe they don't like these. I don't like getting stung by bees, but I love like how cute they are. They're super fun and cute. All right, so here are the measurements for the next card, and I'm going to walk you through it so you don't have to memorize anything, but let's go. So we have a card base, and this is, again, same measurement, 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. And we're going to actually turn it this way, so it's going to be a long card here. Then we're going to do 2 of the 5 1/4, 5 1/4 by 4. So, and one is going to be the front, one is going to be an insert that's going to go on the inside of your card. And don't attach anything because we're going to stamp everything first, if you can remember. And then we have a piece that is for the sentiment, the white sentiment here. This is 4 1/4 by 1 1/2, or 1/2, 4 1/4 by 1/2. Okay, so that's the one for the sentiment. And then this one is going to be for the bees. So I'm going to actually just use this to punch the bees out of with the punch, and I'll show you how to do that. And then this is the designer series paper. This is 4 3/4 by 1. So that's the piece that you need. And it has little bees on this side, and you could use it either way. I am going to use the hearts up. And we are ready to start stamping this card. So what I'm actually going to do, we're going to stamp and punch. And then, like the last card, we're going to build it all together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my punch first, because I like to punch first and then stamp, just because it's too hard to line up otherwise. Like, it's already hard for me, and I measured this out, so it should be perfect. And we're going to do 2, because we're going to make 2 bees. So, and I'm just going to do this side, and then I'm going to do another scrap piece for the other side. So that's just a scrap piece of white, and I'm just going to grab another one to do the other 2. Oops. And I'm actually going to do one more, because I can see the other one's messed up. And then you can toss that or try to reuse it. But, so like this one, it kind of got cut off, so I'm just gonna not use that. So I want to have perfect bees. So now you should have a couple of pieces that are ready to be stamped, and a couple of scraps that can just be tossed. And we'll start with the inside of the card. So, and on the inside of the card, I did a couple of flowers and a Happy Valentine's Day right in the middle with the Sweet Sorbet. So, Sweet Sorbet, I'm going to go ahead and stamp the Happy Valentine's Day first, because that will kind of gauge where my flowers are going to go. So, Happy Valentine's Day. Perfect. And then I'm going to clean this off. I'm going to clean as I go, so I don't have to worry or think if I've cleaned off my stamps yet. All right, Happy Valentine's Day. And then I can close this. And then I'm going to jump right to the other coordinating colors, which are Petal Pink and Lemon Lime Twist. And I do the Lemon Lime Twist first, just because it's easier for me, but do what's easier for you. So 1, and then I did like a small one, and then I'm going to do 1 going the other direction here, just like that. Clean off my stamp. So you could totally have so much fun with this. There's so many cute little things that you can use. So it does make it a lot of fun. And just gonna use that, make some pretty flowers. And the inside is done. So now I can attach the inside, and I told you before, like green glue, because you can kind of wobble it around until you get it just right, with just the right amount of edges showing all the way around. Just like that. There we go. So as that starts to dry, we can leave that, put that aside, so that we can do the next part. So I'm going to use this stamp that says "You're as sweet as honey," and I'm going to do it on this piece here. Actually, so this one needs to be 4 1/4 by 1/2. So I'm going to do 4 1/4. I'm going to cut that because I can see it's a little long, by 1/2. And so it's going to be a tight fit, but we're going to make it work. And I am going to use the Sweet Sorbet again, because I am able to see it nice and clearly. Some of the other colors for this sweet are pretty light, So I want to be able to read the sentiment. So go ahead and firm press. Perfect. Perfect as it can be for a homemade card, right? So that's that step. And then I'm going to show you how I stamp the bee next. So this one's going to end up going on here. And you want to, it is directional, so you want to make sure that you are putting it on so that you're reading it in the right direction. So I'm going to go ahead and add this. And I just added a little bit of Stampin' Seal Plus. And I just put it right in the middle of that. So you have the sentiment. You can actually cut around the sentiment if you wanted to. I thought that that looked nice too. So it's just preference as far as what you want to do. But let me go ahead and show you how I do the bees next. And we'll do this part last. So I'm going to need some of the Daffodil Delight. So, and I start off with the biggest stamp, which is the bee's body. And this, I'm doing a tap, tap, tap. And then I'm just, this is the greatest thing about having these clear blocks. I can see right through. So I'm just lining it up perfectly with the punch out. So some punches you can line up. This one, I really had a hard time with lining it up. And so I was like, I'm just going to punch them. I'll punch them and then stamp. Usually it's easier if you stamp first then punch, but it just depends, I guess, on the punch itself. So if you are an advanced stamper, like, I'm definitely curious, what do you prefer? Do you love the punches or are you more into the dies? Because some people love a punch, and for me, I definitely really don't like the punches as much as I love the dies. I feel like the dies are so much more versatile and like you can do so much more with them, but that's not everybody. Some people love the punches because they're so easy, especially if it's a sentiment punch. I guess I could take that back and say that a sentiment punch is pretty fantastic if you can just punch it out really quick and then you have it ready to go, versus setting up the die machine, you know, getting it cut with the die machine. I don't know. So I'm going to have opposite direction bees. So I kind of set them up so that when I'm looking at them, that's what they look like, because then I'll put their faces on properly, hopefully. Because they do have these funny, sweet little faces. Another reason why I just loved this set, it's so much to do with it. There's so many different little stamps that you can play with, and so I like to use this heart for the bee's wings. And I use the little heart for the antennas. You'll see. So, and then I'll show you how I attach everything. Of course, I just messed that up a little bit, but that's okay. So you can see there's still ink on there. So instead of re-inking, I'm just going to try to line it up and get that last little bit. It kind of messed it up a little bit, but it does not need to be perfect at all. Handmade card. Nobody's going to look at your handmade card and be like, oh, you messed up in that one spot, you know? And if they do, maybe they don't really need a handmade card, right? If they're that meticulous, maybe send them to the ones that would never, you know, point out that little flaw. So my kids are already in bed for the night. I like to work at night because it's very quiet. Won't have to worry about them stomping around. But every once in a while I'll do a tutorial when they're still awake. And all right. So this stamp would probably be better on an A block, which is a small one, but since I'm already using this one, I'll show you. You can use the D block too. So here's Smiley. Give him a little face. And I have one more little face I'm going to use. Alright, so make sure there's nothing underneath of it because you don't want to mess it up. And then when you press down, press firm. Otherwise, you're going to have that same issue that I just had where I didn't have a corner of the ink come off. And then I like to put my stamps back as I use them. That way I don't lose them, but everybody's different. So if it doesn't work for you and it's not sustainable, then don't worry. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a glue dot. Let me show you. And then I'm going to put it right on that bottom of that heart, right there, so that I can put this behind the bee like that. And then I'm going to do it again for the antlers, for the antenna. So and I'm putting this on the front. So on the front that is stamped. And then I'm going to add the antenna. Just like that. And then you can add a little bit of Pool Party if you want, or Petal Pink to the wings. So I'm just kind of, I meant to do that before I attached it. My Pool Party is almost out. I need to replace this. But let me go ahead and finish this first. Alright, so glue dot, we're going to attach that. Glue dot, we're going to attach these antenna. Just like so. And boom. Alright, so now I have two super cute bees ready to go. And then I can put those glue dots back. Alright, so this is going to be my favorite part, guys. I love to blend. So here's my blending brush. Make sure there's nothing on it. This one had been sitting on my desk. I'm going to use the Daffodil Delight. And I know everybody does this differently. This is the way I like to do it. I just kind of push it down into my ink a little bit. Once I have some on my blender brush, I like to start on the paper and get it kind of like an even color. And then I'm going to bring to my card. This is one of my favorite techniques just because it's like, I don't have to have an entire piece of this very abrupt, like yellow daffodil light. It's soft, so you can still see, you can see the color, but you also get to see a lot of the white. And I just love that effect. I don't know why. Love it. Super fun, super easy to do. Just kind of press firmly and do circles like that. So simple. And then I kept this Daffodil Delight open because I'm going to come back over it with the honeycomb stamp. And I just kind of start in the middle and then I just work my way out. So, and then I turn it as I want to, different ways. And don't make it too perfect because it's not perfect. Let's see if I can. Just kind of everywhere, you know, like nothing crazy. Try not to have too much white space anywhere. All right, so that's my beautiful honeycomb that I've designed. All right, now we can use a little bit of memento. And what I like to do for this next part is I like to kind of get this where I want it. Okay, so there's the sentiment tag where I want it. And you can flip it or do whatever you want to try to get it where you want it. So once I have an idea of where I want it, all right, then I kind of have an idea of where my bees are going to go. So maybe one here. maybe one here. Oh. And I try to keep it on the paper because if I go over the edge, it's maybe not going to fit in an envelope. So just to kind of keep that in mind as you're working along here. And then I want to use the memento, and I'm just going to add a little tail. So I'm using this stamp here, right here. And I'm going to add a little bit of tail, and it's going to be okay if I like lift that up and I have it a little bit underneath. Same on this other side. So that's where he's going to go, and then I'm going to have him up there, and I'm just going to move him out of the way and put this here. There you go. So that's easy enough, right? Put this aside. And then now I'm ready to assemble this card. So I'm going to use my green glue for this part. And you can use your tape runner. This part's pretty easy to attach. So if you're still with me, I just want to thank you again so much for being here. Having so much fun making this card for you. I love designing new cards, guys. I love this part. This part is super fun. I try really hard not to look at what other people have done. Somebody could have made this exact same card, and I don't know because I don't look at other people's designs until I make mine, and then I will look because I want to try to be original in my designs. And it is quite hard because people think of everything. I'm sure there's 100 cards that are better than mine, but I just love this so much. It doesn't even matter. That does not deter me. I just enjoy it so much. I'm going to make cards anyway. So this is obviously a Valentine's inspired card. All of these card workshop, I guess. All right, so now I'm ready to put this on here. And so let me tell you something too. If you wanted to, you could grab a piece of Daffodil Delight and mat this onto there. You could grab another piece of white and mat it. Double mat it is what it's called. And I love the way it looks. It looks really nice. It adds another layer, which elevates the project, but not necessary on this one because I already did a lot on this one. We did lots of fun stamping. This is fun if you love to stamp this card. Look, they're so happy. And so now I just need a little bit of ribbon. I'm going to make a little bow. I like to make it so that it's on the thing so I don't waste any. And then I just kind of mess with it until I have my bow. Look. The other one was perfect, so I don't know if this one's going to be. Looks like it might be. Got a little bit too much on this side, but that's okay. It's actually not that bad a bow. Let's cut that short. Because when I attach it here, I can kind of cut it and get it the length that I want. So try not to waste too much of that. And trim a little bit more till it looks even. I'm eyeballing this, and I'm just going to grab a glue dot for the back of that bow, and I'm going to pop that right there on that corner. And this card is now done. Super easy, fun, walk through step by step. Perfect for Valentine's Day for someone special in your life that you want to send that to. So card number 2 is done. And we are moving right along. So the next one, I tried not to do the bees because I wanted to see how versatile this set is. I actually stamped the envelope with a couple of hearts too. So you can stamp them. There's a little tiny heart stamp that comes with this kit that's really, really cute and tiny. So just like a little preview of what's in the card. Just super fun. And then we'll pull out the measurements for this one. So for this card, look how fun. Okay, so, and I also I stamped the inside. So simple, love you. It is embossed. Can you see that? Embossed here, punched here. So this is the next card that we're going to work on. And I'll just show you how simple it is to make. And oh, there's my gems. You're actually going to use these adhesive back hearts and flowers on this one. And I use sweet sorbet paper, and this is 11 by 4 1/4. 11 by 4 1/4, and then scored at 5 1/2. All right, so that is the base. Then I have two pieces. One is an insert, the other one will go on the front. Both of them are cut 5 1/4 by 4. So I don't know if you noticed or if you've been paying attention, but all of the measurements for my inserts and the front of my cards are the same. So that makes it super simple so that you start to get in repetition so you remember the measurements. I forced myself to learn all the measurements by making 75 cards the first time I tried to make cards for somebody else. And I made 75 cards and I just cut, over and over and over again to learn those measurements. And then you need sweet sorbet. This is 3 1/2 by 3 1/2 inches. 3 1/2 by 3 1/2, and you're going to use the everyday detailed dies to cut the circle out of this. And then I used these scraps to do my heart punches. So I'm going to punch all these out, and I do use the punching tool here. So, and I use this heart right here. So, and I can do that first because I have it in my hand here. So let's get some hearts. So I have that one. Now I have this one. And a little bit of this one. I'm trying to cut on those corners so that I can still use the rest of the paper for something else if I want to. So now I have my 5 hearts. And I'm done with the punch for now. Here are all my hearts. And this paper is beautiful. It's really fun on both sides, so it's really hard to cover up. So, and then the next step I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and emboss these two pieces so that these two pieces are ready to go. And I used these softly sophisticated 3D embossing folder. I use this one for the white piece. I'm going to put that in there. That's ready to go. And then I use everyday detail dies, and I use the largest circle. So, and that should fit perfectly on there. And I'm going to go ahead and emboss these, and I will be right back. Okay, so that is done, and this is done. All right, so I can set this aside. And actually, this die has a lot of the little red pieces stuck inside. So I like to use my Take Your Pick tool, and it's a multi-tool, so it has two double-sided here tips, and this one is great for poking out all these little things like this. You can poke through. Sometimes also you can drop the die and some of the pieces will come out. So it kind of helps along, but anything that's stuck deep in there, you can punch out with the Take Your Pick tool. And the Take Your Pick tool is awesome for embellishments, adding a little bling to your card. So you'll see that. I'll pull it back out when I get to the bling part of this card. And I'm just doing this now because I like to have everything set up to where I can easily grab it and use it next time I want to use it. And I'm afraid if I put it away before I poke these out, the next time I go to use it, I'll be like, oh man, now it's like stopping you right in your tracks. So kind of leaving it the best that I can here so that it's ready for the next card. Get all these little pieces. And then I'm just going to put this away. Keep everything organized the best that I can. So I have everything embossed now. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stamp the inside first. And I did use the Sweet Sorbet. And I used the Love You stamp. So, love you. Uh-oh, so there you can see I messed up. I made a mistake there. And this paper is nice and thick, so I can restamp it. And this time I'm going to slow down, make sure I get a firm press all the way across. So I have a perfect love you. And I'm going to clean that off. And then I'm going to add the little heart. So I just used this stamp here, love you, and I'm going to use this heart right here. So here it is. Try not to take the antennas too. So a really cool trick somebody taught me about these stamps is that when they start to lose their grip, you can use a little bit of dish soap and wash them off, and then they'll re-stick again. So if they are being used a lot and you need to get them more sticky, just use a little bit of dish soap and that stickiness will come right back, which is pretty fantastic. So the stamps never really, you don't ever have to really worry about having to replace a whole set because the stamp's not sticking anymore. All right, so that's the inside. The inside is done. Now I'm just going to use the green glue and attach it to the inside of my card so it can start to dry while I work on the next piece. And you don't have to worry that this is going to shine through. It's definitely nice, thick cardstock, so you don't have to worry about that. And there we go. So that is done. Then this part is going to go on next. But before I attach this, I'm going to do the ribbon trick again. So I'm going to add a little bit of ribbon, and I'm just going to tape it on both sides here with my Stampin' Seal Plus. And I'm just going to add, just going to kind of eyeball to the middle of the card. And add a little bit of Stampin' Seal Plus on both sides. once I have it down on one side, I can easily pull it all the way across. Just like that. And then you can kind of tighten it on the back side if you need to. And then I'm going to use the green glue here. This ribbon is kind of nice. It's like a lay flat ribbon, so pretty easily attach it to the front here and have it be nice and flat for you, a nice flat work surface. And then now that ribbon's hidden behind there, so it's on there good. And then I can use the Memento Black, and I'm going to stamp my Happy Valentine's Day to the front here. So I'm just going to stamp, stamp, stamp. And you know what I could use that would really help me is a foam pad. So the foam pad here, this will just make sure I get a nice clear print. You could do it right in the middle. I kind of did it to one side because I'm going to put the hearts all on the other side, and I wanted it to seem balanced, even though it's not quite. All right. Oops. Set that aside. And then I'm just going to use the green glue again. And I just kind of grabbed all the different ones. Didn't think too much about it, about what order they're in. And then I just kind of start at the top and then work my way around. So I just put a little bit of glue at the bottom, and then you can kind of do it however you like. And then you could see another way to use this fun little punch. On the first card I used it for the bees. On the second card I used it for the bees' wings. Here we go. So a little bit glue came through these little holes, but nothing's sticking, so that's good. So there's the next layer, and I'm going to go ahead and pop this up on dimensionals. So I'm going to add a couple to the back of this, just like so. And then I am ready to attach this to the front of the card. So you can move it right or left or however you like it. You can put the words right in the middle if you want to, or a little bit to the side so you have room for your hearts. And then I'm going to use my Take Your Pick tool and grab a couple of the gems, a couple of the embellishments. Maybe, here they are. So, and I like the flat side for scooping these up. And it doesn't really matter where you put them or how you put them or anything, you just put them on there. So, we're just gonna add a couple. And then I actually added a couple of the red ones as well. The sorbet, I'm sorry. These are sweet sorbet, not red. All right. And a pro tip for me is that I learned that if you just cut a little slit on the side of these are really, it makes it simple to use. Sometimes it's challenging to get them back inside here, but I seem to really like that for keeping my gems organized. So, you guys, this card is done. All right. Beautiful. All right. So, moving on. We have one more project we're going to do, and that is the pillow boxes. So, let me make sure I cleaned off all these dies, and I'm going to grab my pillow boxes. Oops. So, I can show you pretty easily here how to do this. Alrighty, and so all you're gonna need here, this one I'm done with. All you're gonna need here, thought I wrote down the measurements, but okay, so I'm just gonna tell you. It's 2 1/4 by 2 1/4. Okay, so 2 1/4 by 2 1/4. And what you're gonna do is go ahead and attach that first. And when you fold it, there's sticky parts on this side and this side. You see the sticky? So this is going to actually end up being the front of the card, and it's going to open on the top. So when I build this, I'm going to attach this part here. I'm going to do that first. Okay, if you're still with me, thanks for hanging in there. All right, so this is going to go right here. And you attach it while it's laying flat, and it's easy to work with, right? All right, so while that is drying, I'm going to go ahead and grab some little pieces. So I'm going to fussy cut this bee, and I'm also going to fussy cut one of these little honey jars because I'm going to use both of those on the pillow box. So I don't have a scan and cut machine yet, but this would be a fun one to have cut out because there are a million little bees and they're so cute. And I've used them already so much. It would be nice to have that. That's the next thing on my wish list. Fussy cut. So it doesn't have to be perfect, doesn't have to be super close, but that's probably good enough for me here. And I'm just going to get rid of these scraps so I have room to work. And then I'm just going to grab one of these honey jars here. I can save that one for the next project. And just fussy cut this out. So for one project, not a big deal to fussy cut, but obviously if you do a big project where you're fussy cutting, it could take some time. So allow yourself plenty of time to cut these out. There we go. And the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to use the tailor-made dies. Oops. If I can find them. which I know I can because I was just using them. There they are. So in the TaylorMade dies, I use this side, and then I use the second from the smallest. And I'm just going to use a piece of basic white scrap paper to cut that out. So I am just looking through my scraps to see if I have the right size. This one looks like it might work. Perfect. So that's just a scrap piece of white that is 3.5 inches by 1.5 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and use my embossing machine and cut this out. You heard me dropping stuff because I'm rushing. I need to slow down. I'm not needing to rush. I'm just didn't want anybody waiting on me. Sorry. But see, there's a little, you can use your snips, poke that through so that this die is ready to use the next time. There we go. All right, so I'm going to use You Make My Heart Buzz, and I'm going to use, you can use Memento or you can use the Sweet Sorbet. Since I have the Memento, I'm going to use this. And I'm going to go ahead and stamp this first. I'm going to stamp that sentiment first. Sorry, having a little bit of technical difficulties with my camera. My webcam there. Hopefully that didn't cut off too much. This is almost done. So I'm going to go ahead and build this before I lose my feed here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this off first. Take this off. Hopefully I can show you. Bending it in, and then I'm going to, whoops, didn't mean to do that. Then I'm going to attach it. So because it's a funny shape, it is kind of hard to work with here. And I'm just kind of ripping, but I feel like that is me. Because I'm trying desperately to line that up. I'm just having a little bit of technical difficulties myself. And okay, so once you get those sides lined up, then you pull those back and it's open on the top. So this is what I have so far. And then I'm going to end up putting this around the front. I'm going to add a little bit of Stampin' Seal to attach my bee and my honey. So, and I'm going to attach my bee on this side this time and my honey on this side. We're just going to see how that looks. So, and you definitely want to leave the hole on the tag open because I am going to use ribbon to wrap around the project. So this is what it looks like so far. And then what I do is I'm going to push the ribbon in from the front like so. And we're gonna wrap this around the entire box until it comes back around. And I'm gonna then tie the ribbon in a bow. So this is gonna end up coming like that. And then I'm just gonna snip. And then I'm going to try to tie this in a beautiful bow. And then to make it easier, I will use a couple of dimensionals to hold this into place. So, and I want to make sure my tag is on top of the ribbon. So, actually, like this. Then you have the bow, and then I'm going to put a little dimensional behind this so that it doesn't move once I have it in place. We don't want it to move anymore. And I like the idea that you can get into the pillow box without having to untie the bow, so you can kind of keep it intact. And then I'm just going to trim this. And then you can put another little dimensional or something behind that honey if you want to, or you can kind of tilt it so that it's facing more in if you want to. And then I'm just going to add a couple of these Lindt chocolates. They're just milk chocolates and I do 3. They fit in there nicely. There's actually room. I could probably put a 4th, but let's not go crazy. And then I'm just going to fold these down on the score lines to get that last little bit, and then just kind of move it around until you have it all done. And that is the cute little pillow box treat. Thank you so much for watching this tutorial. I really appreciate you being here and having some fun making some cards with me. Hopefully you make these. If you make them, please tag me. Let me know. I would love to see what you did, what you came up with, if it looks the same as mine, if it looks a little bit different than mine. But this suite, all of the things that I've seen come out with this suite have been fantastic. I mean, I love like all the different designs that Stampin' Up even came up with for this set. So super, super fun and all done. So thank you again so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, please like and subscribe. Give me a thumbs up. And I will see you on my next tutorial next month. And I'm not sure what set I'm going to be working with next month, but definitely join me the last Friday of the month to find out. That's my beginner tutorial. And then the last day of the month, I try to post my advanced tutorial. So you can look forward to that. And I hope you have a great night and a great rest of your week. Thank you so much. Bye.